Alright guys, welcome. Today we're just going to be setting up the ethanol content sensor. I'm not going to wire it in, but I'm going to figure out where it's going to rest. And then also got to figure out how I need to wire said ethanol content sensor, and then the amount of line that I need to go from there to wherever else it needs to go. So I'm going to run a decent amount of line here, so just want to figure it all out so that when it comes time to do it, which will be tomorrow, but still in the same video, I just know we can bang it out real quick because there's not much left to do before I can pressurize the system and hopefully get this car running again. So this is the ethanol content sensor. It's a GM one. The cool thing about this sensor is it's going to do exactly what I said. Monitor the ethanol content of the fuel that flows through it so that we can accurately tune the engine, run a flex fuel setup. So these come on a couple of cars. You can get them for like, I think it's like 50 bucks from a GM dealer. And you just get like a plug kit for it and then wire it in. It tells you exactly on the sensor where ground, power, and your ECU signal goes, and you wire it in. On the link ECUs, you just assign it to an input and say, hey, this is the ethanol content sensor, and it just picks it up. It's that easy. So we need to do this before we put any E85 in here because I'm going to be able to accurately tune the engine. So what you do is you can, and what I'll probably do is do a tune for 93, make sure all the 93's out, then put the 85 in, and tune for 85, and then the ECU will blend the two tunes together based on your ethanol content. So it's pretty cool. Makes it really easy for you. I'm actually putting this sensor in the return line. I know it sounds a little weird, but typically you put it in the feed line after the filter. But I'm going to put this in the return line, and it's just going to be in the return line. In the ECU there's a setting for delay, so you can set like however many seconds of delay so that your sensor can basically still read the ethanol content. Just will be a little bit delayed. So a little bit delayed to allow it time to work through the return system. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I got these two coolant lines connected, but this line down here, which is like the feed tube for the fuel from like your gas system, and hopefully get this car running again. So this is the ethanol content sensor. It's a GM one. The cool thing about this sensor is it's going to do exactly what I said. Monitor the ethanol content of the fuel that flows through it so that we can accurately tune the engine, run a flex fuel setup. So these come on a couple of cars. You can get them for like, I think it's like 50 bucks from a GM dealer. And you just get like a plug kit for it and then wire it in. It tells you exactly on the sensor where ground, power, and your ECU signal goes, and you wire it in. On the link ECUs, you just assign it to an input and say, hey, this is the ethanol content sensor, and it just picks it up. It's that easy. So we need to do this before we put any E85 in here because I'm going to be able to accurately tune the engine. So what you do is you can, and what I'll probably do is do a tune for 93, make sure all the 93's out, then put the 85 in, and tune for 85, and then the ECU will blend the two tunes together based on your ethanol content. So it's pretty cool. Makes it really easy for you. I'm actually putting this sensor in the return line. I know it sounds a little weird, but typically you put it in the feed line after the filter. But I'm going to put this in the return line, and it's just going to be in the return line. In the ECU there's a setting for delay, so you can set like however many seconds of delay so that your sensor can basically still read the ethanol content. Just will be a little bit delayed. So a little bit delayed to allow it time to work through the return system. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so I got these two coolant lines connected, but this line down here, which is like the feed tube for the fuel from like your gas tank thing, it's pretty stiff of a hose, and I didn't connect it before I like bolted the tank up. I am not gonna unbolt the tank and do it. I'm just gonna unbolt the hard side of it here and down there, just so I can move it around and slip it on. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Connect those two lines up. There's another one that has to connect, and then I think it's like a vent, or at least that tells it like when to stop when you're filling out the gas. I think that's what that line is. And then I'll start figuring out the rest of this like line routing. I did get the one feed line all the way over here, so it's gonna kind of go down there like that, connect into the filter. But the return line is all the way over there, and I'm still gonna have to figure some stuff out for that, because that has to go, for at least for now, has to go from a 3/8 to a 1/4 inch, which is the or -4. It's -6 to -4, which is the fuel line hose on the regulator. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this stuff over here, then I'll get to that, and then I'll figure out the ethanol content sensor location, because I'd like, honestly, for it to be like right here, but I just don't think that's gonna work. So we'll see. It might end up being like over here somewhere. Gotta give me a second and I'll figure it out, because it doesn't have like a bracket, which is kind of unfortunate. Like, it doesn't come with like any bracketing, so I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'll probably just end up getting like zip tied or hose clamped or something. So give me a second and I will figure that all out. Alright, so we got those fuel lines sorted out. Everything's connected again. And now I'm just gonna figure out the fuel filter stuff. It's gonna be like right over here. I need a crush washer for it, so I'm not gonna like permanently mount anything. Just gonna make sure everything's like long enough, and then we'll finally get to the ethanol content sensor, which is still patiently waiting right there. Alright, so I'm gonna mount it here. If you can see, it's got a zip tie on it for now, just because that's temporary. Just for mock-up, I'll figure out something more solid. But it'll be in this general area here, so that gives me a perfect like guideline and how to figure out how to run these lines. Now this is going to be a little weird, because I'm going from -4 or 1/4 inch to -6 or 3/8, so we're gonna have to use some sorts of adapters, but we'll figure that out. When I go back to a bigger regulator, which I'm saving for like a nice radium one, we'll upgrade the lines to something a little bigger, but for now this will do. So yeah. Alright guys, so I got the little harness made for the ethanol content sensor. Just shrunk wrap this up, and then I have like a signal wire that I'm going to tap into the stock harness with, power wire that I'm going to find somewhere on the stock harness to tap into, and then this ground will probably just go to like a bolt or something. So, or maybe I can probably get this into like a wire, but I think I'm probably just going to put it on the bolt actually, never mind. Alright, went ahead and gave that power ground and signal in the ECU, so it's just going to hang out until I solidly mount the ethanol content sensor, which is going to be tomorrow, which is still today for you guys, but you get what I mean. Alright, so I have here what I hope is the remaining bits that I need to at least pressurize the system, make sure that our fuel pump is working, 1, and 2, you know, get everything sorted out, because this is taking way too long. I do need to get gas in this car, which is going to be interesting, because I don't think I have a gas tank, like gas can. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But anyway, I just want to get this buttoned up right now, and then either today or tomorrow we're going to do a quick coolant flush, get some gas in this thing before we pressure test it, because I don't want to like there's no gas in the tank, so I don't want to run the pump with no gas in there. So let's just do this real quick, and yeah. So I got this mostly done. I just gotta, like, you know, secure the line the way I want to, but I'm still waiting on USPS for one part. Seems like on this channel, the majority of work that we do is wait for USPS. But yeah, we're just waiting for USPS to get here, one part, and then we'll be able to finish up this fuel system, and I can like secure stuff. I think that I'm actually gonna move the ethanol content sensor to like over here, just because that's, I don't know, kind of a way to keep lines out of the way, if that makes sense. And this will be a good spot. See, like on this thing, like I was saying before, there's no real place to like mount like a bolt or anything, so I'm kind of gonna have to zip tie this somewhere with just a couple of heavy duty zip ties, and this seems like the best place to do it. And it should be under my intercooler at that point, so maybe I'll zip tie it a little lower, but it'll be under my intercooler, which will be fine. I'm gonna trim a little bit of this line back so that it's not so kinky, and make sure that we have no kinks. But other than that, this should work pretty well. So yeah, once USPS gets here, which who knows when that's gonna be, we will finish this up. So got everything pretty much buttoned up. It's like I said, it's just like a kind of weird thing for right now. I don't have clamps on it. I gotta get some clamps tomorrow. And then I'll mount this thing. I don't know if I said it before, but I'm gonna mount this here. I think I did say before. Mount this here and then trim this line. Just kind of have excess, but I don't wanna trim it yet until I actually finally mount this thing, just in case I decide to move it. The harness definitely reaches over here. I think putting it here is gonna be good because it'll get things out of the way, and I can kind of clean up more in this general area. But yeah, back in. I got this stuff back together. Engine bay is actually like looking somewhat presentable for once. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep chugging along. I need to get a gas can, so I'll get one of those tomorrow. I can fill up the tank. I don't want to run the pump with the amount of gas that's in there, because there's like none. So do that tomorrow, which will still be the same video for you guys. And hopefully we don't have any leaks. If we don't have any leaks, then we'll get to tuning. So yeah. What's up, guys? It's kind of between raining. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is actually raining, and it's supposed to rain a lot harder later. And it was raining a lot harder earlier. Ground's super wet, as you can see. But I got to get these coolant lines secured. So tomorrow, when it's like 70 degrees, it is supposed to rain tomorrow, but hopefully it doesn't. It's going to be like 70 degrees out tomorrow, so I can go ahead and fill this thing up with coolant, like flush it, get fuel on this thing, and start putting things back together, and hopefully, you know, drive the car. So we're gonna quickly get this car up in the air, secure these coolant lines, and then I guess we'll flash forward till tomorrow. So we got the entire fuel system sorted out, got everything together. As far as I can tell, as of right now, there's no leaks. There was a massive leak at the rail with one of the injectors, but we were able to sort that out and fix it. It took a while, but we did fix it. Now we're just trying to get the car to start. Having some issues with the coil unplug stuff, just some configuration things. So I'm gonna check over wiring and check over just all the settings and make sure that we get it right so that we can get this started. I'd like to ideally have this started in the next day or so that we can start doing some tuning. That's kind of where we're at now. The car is like done, just needs some clean up and put together, and then we can tune. So I never say I'm an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert.